Om Shri Sai Ram. Welcome to everyone to the second episode of the Sathya Sai Story, which follows the growth of Sathya to Sai. We are in the middle of 1947, the same period of time when Srimati Sakamma from the city of Bangalore purchased a large tract of land just outside the village of Puttaparthi with the idea that she would donate it to Swami for him to build his ashram. Today, the Prashanti Nilayam ashram stands on this tract of land that was so large-heartedly donated by Srimati Sakamma Garu. In the middle of 1947, Swami also travelled to the coastal town of Machilipatnam in Andhra Pradesh. These beautiful instances at Machilipatnam that I am about to narrate has been recorded by Srimati Lakshmidevamma, a lady who had the privilege of accompanying Swami as part of his party to Machilipatnam. So on the way as they were driving, they had packed food, as is always the case with Swami, and Swami would decide which place they will stop and sit together and, like a picnic, have a wonderful lunch. So Swami selected a suitable spot and everybody sat in a circle. The leaves which would serve as plates were distributed to all of them, and then came the large lunch case, a carrier, multiple stories, or each container in that lunch box would have a different dish. And as it was opened, much to everybody's horror, there was no food in any of those cases. And Swami said, "Hey, what happened? Who ate the food? I did not eat it. See, I am just opening them now." Yes, Swami was just opening them now, and nobody could believe that this had happened. So they quickly got up and came to take a closer look, and yes, indeed, all the vessels were empty. They had left behind their leaves, which got blown away by the wind. So the leaves started flying everywhere, the leaf plates. And Swami told them, at least get the leaf plates, let them not go away. And Swami started shutting back the lunch case because there is no food there. All these devotees ran to fetch their own respective leaves, and as they brought it back, before they could go back and sit in the car, Swami again started opening the lunch case. And this time, the most heavenly fragrance and aromas began to waft in the air as one after another delicious dishes got revealed in that same empty case. The touch of the Lord's hand makes empty things purnam or complete. That is what happens to our lives as well, dear brothers and sisters. The touch of the Lord makes our empty lives purnam, complete. Purnam is something that is sweet, purnam is something that is complete, and the Lord's touch indeed makes our lives sweet and complete. What greater joy can we have than listen to these stories that inspire us, enthuse us, motivate us, and most importantly, take us closer and closer to our dear Sai. Creating food to feed so many people, or multiplying food to feed 5 times, 10 times the number of people the food was intended for, these are not some new things for our Swami. He has done it so many times. In fact, come to think of it, the human body is supposed to consist of 5 koshas: the Annamaya kosha, the gross sheath; the Pranamaya kosha or the life sheath; the Manomaya kosha or the mind sheath; the Vijnanamaya kosha or the knowledge sheath; and the subtlest of them all, the Anandamaya kosha or the bliss sheath, what we truly are. And Swami has the capacity, has the ability to confer infinite amount of materials for all the sheaths. For the Annamaya kosha, he can give infinite amount of food. He is the one who is the master of prana or life. He is the master mind. He is the one who controls the mind, and he can confer infinite blessings at the level of the mind. He is the ultimate repository of all knowledge in the universe. So for Vijnanamaya kosha as well, he can bless us infinitely. Most importantly, our dear Swami has the ability to confer on us infinite Ananda, not ordinary Ananda, Brahmananda. in a discourse, Swami narrates how infinitely high Brahmananda is. The lowest level of Ananda is what you have when the body is fine, when you are having a good career, good relationship, everything is going on perfectly in the world. That is called Manavananda. Brahmananda is exponentially 18 times higher than this Manavananda, and Swami is the repository of that Brahmananda. So, while we rejoice at him multiplying and giving us infinite amount of food at the Annamaya kosha level, what we must truly seek from Swami is that bliss at the Anandamaya kosha level. He has that capacity to give us that ultimate, that elixir, that amrita of immortality. That is what he did at Machilipatnam. On the beach when they were there, Swami started walking into the ocean. He walked deeper and deeper. First he was knee deep in the water, then waist deep, finally chest deep and neck deep. Only his head is bobbing above the level of the water. Now the devotees got a little scared, got a little frightened. They said, Swami, come back, come back. And they started rushing into the ocean. Actually, the sea, the Bay of Bengal there. Seeing that, Swami turned around and started coming out. Midway they met and they saw Swami was now waist deep in water walking out. Amazingly, the upper part of his robe was as dry can be. And as Swami walked out of the waters onto the beach, Swami's entire robe was absolutely dry. But Swami had clenched both his fists. He had something in them. He called all the devotees and began to pour into their mouths one drop from one hand, one drop from the other hand. And as the devotees received those drops, they realized that the salty sea water had become sweet lime juice in one hand and literally the amrit with a honey taste, ambrosial taste in the other hand. Every devotee got a drop of this lime juice and this nectar, and they enjoyed this bliss. It is very difficult to keep track of where all Swami travelled in these early days because he travelled a lot. In fact, we get an idea of his travels from the letters that he wrote to his devotees. There is this one letter that he wrote to the devotee in Bangalore, Sri Tirumal Rao. In that, we get to know that Swami had actually been to Coonoor, and from Coonoor, Swami rushed back to Puttaparthi because 200 or 300 devotees had gathered there. All of this Swami himself writes. In fact, please allow me to read a few lines from this letter because more than Swami's travels, we get to know the kind of relationship God has to the devotees. This is so important because we must realize that even to this day, this is the kind of relationship Swami has with each one of us. We just have to feel it and reciprocate it, and then we will experience the same. Let me read out the letter. To dear devotee Tirumal Rao, Baba Garu writes with blessings. Son, I received your letter and felt happy. They came here by car to go to Bangalore as Sulochana was to undergo an operation. We sent them ahead and we reached Bangalore in someone else's car by 11 p.m. on the day of the operation. We reached home by 1 o'clock at the night and looking up at Sulochana in the hospital. Meanwhile, a merchant's daughter was dangerously ill and she wanted to have my darshan before she lost her life. So I had to leave for Mysore immediately without even taking food at 1:30 a.m. in the middle of the night. I reached Mysore by 5 in the morning and saw the child. Then I drove to Coonoor and stayed there for a couple of days. There I received a telegram that 200-300 devotees have arrived at Puttaparthi. So I left immediately for Puttaparthi on the 4th without stopping at Mysore or Bangalore, but collecting my pressed, ironed clothes from Venkatesham's house and photos from Basavaraju's house in Bangalore at 12:30 in the middle of the night. Not wanting to disturb you, I asked Ankamma to tell you about this. I don't know whether she informed you or not. Probably she has not. Son, as I was in a hurry, I could not meet you. But I do not forget you. You are always in my heart. And then Swami writes other things before concluding. Write to me about your health. Don't be pained by my not stopping to see you on the way back. Don't feel unhappy about it. These are my blessings. Sathya Sai avatar came for the world, no doubt. But there is one Sathya Sai in the heart for each one of us, for whom every little thing about our lives matters. if we connect to him, we will be able to enjoy that personal attention and bliss. I am absolutely sure. Now, as Swami rushed back to Puttaparthi from Coonoor, as he has written in the letter, there was a tragedy happening in Puttaparthi as far as Mrs. Leela Mudaliyar was concerned. Miss Leela Mudaliyar is the daughter of Mr. Lokanatha Mudaliyar. There's this book Sathya Sai, and we know how in Guindy he constructed the first Shirdi Baba temple. This is the first ever Shirdi Sai idol in the world. The idol came there even before Shirdi Baba idol came in Shirdi itself. So in the 1940s it had come in Guindy. At this time, this Mr. Lokanatha Mudaliyar was suffering from malaria in Puttaparthi. But Swami is now arriving to Puttaparthi. Therefore, all the devotees had gone to the neighboring Karnata Nagapalli village where Swami's car would come and they would welcome Swami. They had all gone there to possibly, greet him as he comes. I remember in our school and college days, we too would be waiting to welcome Swami whenever he would return to Puttaparthi from Bangalore or Kodaikanal or from anywhere. We would have a welcome song, we would have dancers, all in front of the car, and it would be a wonderful festival. Almost from the beginning of Puttaparthi till he reaches his abode in the ashram, there would be a procession. So, back in those days also they would have done this, I think, and that is what they had gone there to do. In the meanwhile, Swami comes to Mr. Lokanatha Mudaliyar. He comes, manifests Vibhuti, gives it to him, cures him completely of malaria. And by the time the procession is over and they all return home, Lokanatha Mudaliyar is fully in his finest spirits. But then as Swami arrives in Karnata Nagapalli, he looks at the daughter of Lokanatha Mudaliyar, that is Leela Mudaliyar, and asks her, why your father did not come to welcome me? He's all fine. And she's wondering, Swami knows everything, why is he saying he's all fine? Because he's having malaria. It's only when she came back, she realized how Swami had come. All these stories, they reinforce in us the truth that Swami is available for us always. There is no need for us to think that we are staying in a geographically far place from Puttaparthi, or we have come at a time when Swami is not there physically. Swami is there. Swami is there, he is there here, he is there, he is there everywhere. When people say God is nowhere, remove that W and put it this side. It becomes God is now here. Yes, he is here. Around this time, Mrs. G.V. Swarnamma also came to Swami because she was suffering from a health issue. Her skin was cracking and drying all the way from her palm till her elbow, from her knee till her ankle, and nothing had helped cure her. By the way, Mrs. G.V. Swarnamma was an actress of great repute in the Kannada movie industry. She is the daughter of Shri Gubbi Veeranna, Padma Shri Gubbi Veeranna, who is one of the founding fathers of theatre in India, definitely the founding father for Kannada theatre and movie industry. He has honed many of the superstar legendary actors in the Kannada movie industry, which includes Dr. Rajkumar. Back in those days, if she is there, anybody would shower immediate attention on her because she is a superstar, she is a legend. But the Lord works at a different level, not at the level of the body and the mind alone. He works at the level of the soul. For 3 days in a row, Swami ignores her. She is not able to even speak a word to Swami. Everybody is getting to talk long lectures with Swami possibly, but not her. Disappointed, she plans to leave. As she is about to leave, Swami comes running to her. And Swami tells her, wait. I know you have been waiting. There is a reason that I made you wait. But now don't worry. And Swami waves his hand, materializes an unbranded ointment. Swami tells her, you apply this to wherever you have this issue and take some rest. It is late in the evening and Mrs. G.V. Swarnamma applies it over her leg, over her hand, wherever these cracks are, and takes rest as Swami told her. Needless to say, next day morning, just like gentle, dried, dead skin, all of those cracked areas flake away and fall away, and there is pristine, soft, smooth, silky skin underneath. She acted in many more movies after that, and it is because of this incident that all her family members also came to Swami. In fact, her brother, Mr. G.V. Shivananda, wrote about this incident to Dr. Padmanabhan, who is the author of the magnificent magnum opus book, Love is My Form, from which I have borrowed many of these incidents and I am narrating to you. So he wrote a letter in the year 2000 sharing how the sons and daughters of Shri Gubbi Veeranna came to Swami because of this incident that happened in 1947. Let me share another beautiful incident that happened in this year 1947. It has been recorded by Shri Manchiraju Tammiraju, who was Swami's teacher during his Uravakonda school days. He continued to live in Uravakonda and he wrote this story as part of an article that was published in the September 1963 issue of the Sanatana Sarathi. His son got a prestigious job as a government clerk. That was the job that Swami's brother, bodily brother, was aiming to achieve for Swami. A prestigious post as a clerk. That is what Shri Manchiraju Tammiraju's son got a job as, and he had to travel to two villages between the villages of Uravakonda and Chikalaguriki. Between these two villages, there were two other villages that had been badly affected by famine and drought. These two villages exist even to this day, Palturu and Karakamukkala. Because of that, the government had decided to have a social welfare scheme wherein everybody could participate in building roads, and in exchange they would receive daily wages and some food. So in Palturu and Karakamukkala, his son had to go and distribute the wages, the monthly wages. For that, he had travelled with police escort all the way to the Gutti. Gutti is a big town, big city, and from there he had fetched the amount of 10,000 rupees. Now, just for understanding, 10,000 rupees back in 1947 is equivalent to what is about 45,000 US dollars today. But then, keeping it at home, he had decided to go for a night entertainment, watching some village drama. He had kept it in an outside room of his house, not locked the box in which this 10,000 rupees was there, not even locked the door of that room which was outside there, and he had gone. And his father, that is the teacher, Shri Manchiraju Tammiraju, is not aware of this. So he just came back home, and when he is doing his evening bhajan, he is hearing the thumping of a heavy stick to the ground. Now this was the practice of watchmen in those times. Once it becomes little evening, in order to scare away robbers who are making plans to rob some home, they will thump their heavy stick for two reasons. One is to let the robbers know that I have got a heavy weapon in my hand, better not come close. Second thing is to let them know that not only have I got a heavy weapon in my hand, I am alert and I am walking around, so I am on guard. So he heard this and he wondered, who is this new watchman that had been appointed? He goes outside his house, there is nobody. He calls out to a neighbor who was standing outside her house and asks her, did she see anybody walking with a heavy stick? She says, no, I did not see anybody. He goes back inside his house. Again he hears this. This goes on for a good 40 to 50 minutes. But every time Manchiraju Tammiraju comes outside, there is nobody. Then he finally calls his wife and tells her, look, there is something going on here. And she says, yeah, I also hear this stick. They come out and they see at a distance that other room is unlocked and open. They feel there is something strange, so they go into the room and then they see there is a box which is opened, and luckily all the 10,000 rupees are there, nothing is gone. And then they feel, was it maybe who came and guarded this? They immediately lock the box, lock the house, and it is almost early in the morning when their son returns from that late night village drama. And then they tell him about the drama that has happened here. And he is so shocked. At the same time, he is so grateful that that is not lost or nobody stole that. The very next day, this couple leave for Puttaparthi in order to convey their gratitude to Swami. Even before they can open their mouth in Swami's presence, Swami comes to them and tells, hey, I was there for 50 minutes. Tell your son to be careful. Even if part of that had been lost, There is no way he could have replaced it. Again, I only would have to come and replace it. Therefore, I thought it is better to protect it. That was Swami's sweet way of indicating that he had become a watchman for his dear devotee. That is the love of our Lord, dear brothers and sisters. He is ready to become a watchman for the devotee, a driver for the devotee. He is ready to become anything for the devotee. And he is ready to travel across space and time. You know, I am reminded of that episode in 1942 when Swami went as the air raid warden to protect a devotee, Mr. Jogneshwar Gogoi. At this link above, in case you have not watched it before, do enjoy that beautiful story. He has gone in multiple forms, multiple ways, granted darshan, prevented dangers, so many things he has done. I am reminded of the episode of that Bhopal officer. This officer in Bhopal decided to commit suicide. And what Swami did is phenomenal. It's a leela that has multiple angles and it is so thrilling that I don't want to summarize it here because you can have a look at it at this link above. That is part 1 and it will lead you to part 2 as well. And so, dear brothers and sisters, this infinite katha of Sai, Sai Anant, Sai Katha Anant. Sai is infinite, Sai stories are infinite. It will continue. I pray to Swami to always shower his love and grace on us. I request you, dear viewers, to keep me in your prayers so that this Sai Katha can continue. I am grateful to all of you for being listeners to this. Every person who is doing Kirtana Bhakti or devotion through expression requires somebody to do Shravana Bhakti or devotion through listening. And for this, I am grateful to all of you. Dear Swami, as we conclude this second part, I pray to you that may the love that we have for you in our hearts keep growing stronger every passing moment. Thank you. Jai Sai Ram.